Morning walk. Morning walks through San Francisco. We're going to be on the mission. I'm going to walk up 17th Street right now. We're going to talk about the 49ers. We're going to talk about the three things they, I think, really fundamentally have to change from last week to set themselves up for some more success here this season. Ooh, why don't I try to make this light? This is always what makes morning walks so exciting. You can catch close jaywalking attempts in real time. Now, this is not jaywalking. Look, we got the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm in the intersection. I made it on yellow, so we're good. Did not get run over. This place, by the way, legendary old bar, the 500 Club. You could see open 6 a.m., but actually not open at 6 a.m. Painted a little martini glass. Cool spot, the 500 Club. All right, we have now crossed Guerrero. That was a busy street. I wanted to cross the busy street so I could get onto the quieter area. There's like a cool little sandwich shop right here called Turner's Kitchen that I'm passing by, and we could walk further down 17th. Okay, so three things the 49ers need to fundamentally change. A, the tackling. I mean, they missed 10 tackles against Cleveland. That was more than the amount of tackles they had missed in the previous 3 games combined. That was 9. 10 against the Browns. So you just have to be better tackling wise. And I think part of what happened against Cleveland might have been a little bit of the emotional letdown after the game against the Cowboys. Whatever it wasn't as fundamentally sound as the 49ers defense had been in the past. And that was a big part of the 160 yards rushing. So you can talk about complicated schematics. You can talk about quick release on the opposing offense. You can talk about what Steve Wilks needs to do a little bit differently. None of that would have mattered in the win-loss outcome had the 49ers just tackled better, right? People don't want to hear it, but a lot of the times it's just execution. Catch the football on offense, tackle the opposing ball carriers on defense. That's what it was all about. On defense, they didn't tackle well enough, and that ended up hurting the 49ers against the Browns. So I think that's A for me, is you just have to tackle better. This has been a very good tackling team up until that game against the Browns. Generally in the NFL, it's been a decent game tackling if you keep the missed tackle numbers in the single digits. 49ers had 10. So they were close, but they had been an exceptional team tackling. And all of a sudden, they tripled their missed tackle output, which isn't good. Okay, so that's key one. Came up on a nice segue here. Dolores Street with the palm trees. We're gonna walk by Mission Dolores today, which is the original. Look, I'm not jaywalking again. I got time to cross. But right there, Mission Dolores is the original building in San Francisco, not the one with the towers. There's an old mission-style chapel right next to it. But I love that Dolores Street is just lined with the palm trees up and down. And then this place, I've never been here, but it looks appealing. It's called Maxfield's House of Caffeine. There's the House of Caffeine. I mean, these houses are stunning. Look at this. So we talked about the 49ers missed tackle rate. Now we're talking about beautiful houses here on the channel. This is Dolores Street in San Francisco. We're about to go by the oldest standing structure in the city. And now we got to talk about 49ers offensive execution. These guys were, I mean, you look at what happened last week. Brandon Ayuk dropped a pass from Brock Purdy. It looked like it got on him and, quicker than Ayuk was expecting. It was still a good pass. I mean, it hit him in the hands. Purdy was getting drilled on the play by Zadarius Smith. It was a deep attempt. It would have changed the game. It didn't work out. You have to capitalize on opportunities in the NFL, especially against really good defenses. The Vikings aren't a very good defense. I'm going to talk about their blitzing in a little bit, but they've given up yardage. They've given up points this year. This is something that this is a game that the 49ers should be able to move the ball in, even if they don't have their full assortment of weapons. But regardless of who you're playing, you have to capitalize on opportunities. Brock Purdy obviously missed to Christian McCaffrey. The miss to Christian McCaffrey, I think, also probably would have put the game in the 49ers' favor on the final scoreboard. There were missed blocks. Christian McCaffrey felt that he had a run where he started pounding the ground, where he thought that he had one cut that would have turned into a touchdown. And he didn't make that one last cut, didn't make that one last man miss. I mean, it's stuff like this that can make or break a close NFL game. Most NFL games are close. 49ers fans had gotten used to blowouts, I think. I think it had become a thing. Oh, we're going to win this game by 3 possessions, 4 possessions. It doesn't always work that way, especially against the Browns team that had such a damn good defense. So anyway, the 49ers, they missed a lot on the table. You watch the tape, much meat left on the bone from the 49ers. So you got to tackle better, and obviously you got to just make the plays on offense that are there for you. You have to do that better. The first 2 fundamental things to change are just simple execution at the end of the day. Nothing schematic about it, simple execution. The 49ers, this is a team that's so damn talented and I think so well coached that the making a change after a loss isn't necessarily something where you have to move heaven and earth to make something happen. It's usually fairly simple. And for the 49ers leaving Cleveland, I think it is fairly simple. All right, we made it to our spot here. Let's check it out. Gotta flip the camera. Here it is. This is the oldest building in San Francisco, the old Mission. I gotta kind of give you guys a little bit better angle of it. Yeah, this is a better angle. You see the old Spanish style architecture? The old, what do they call it? The clay adobe, I think. Plaque is placed on the 250th anniversary of the birth of California's apostle, Padre or Father Junipero Serra, to mark the northern terminus of the El Camino Real, as Father Serra knew it and helped to blaze it. So the El Camino Real connected all, and still connects, all of the missions. They have named Highway 101 and parts of Highway 1 as the El Camino Real, the original road in California. But it connected all the missions that the Spanish built, and obviously Junipero Serra built the missions in California. This right here is Mission Dolores, which is really the first settlement in San Francisco. And this would be the original chapel right here, built in that Spanish style architecture. They later built the more ornate church, which are the 2 towers that you see here. Now, if you watch Alfred Hitchcock and Vertigo, his movie Vertigo, the actress who passes away in the movie, I believe when they show her tomb, her grave, I think it's in this mission cemetery right here. So cool stuff here in San Francisco. Why don't we go check out the median here of Dolores Street so we can get a nice view of the mission itself. So the first 2 keys for the 49ers are very simple ones. You got to tackle better. You have to hold on to the football. You have to make some of the throws. I know that the wet football might have been a bit of an issue for Brock Purdy against the Cleveland Browns. And to that, I have a take on that too. I think that is one of the more overblown analyses of this game. Here we go. Check this out. If the gimbal pans up, that's nice. And I was able to avoid the truck that was trying to pass through. Beautiful Mission Dolores in San Francisco. All right. Now I could turn this around. The whole wet football thing, I'm still waiting for a QB that plays better in the rain. I mean, everybody's acting like they've cracked some kind of code. Oh, Brock Purdy struggled because it was wet. It was raining. Again, I am still waiting for a QB that does better in wet conditions. I mean, by definition, rain is tough to throw in. I don't care if you're Brock Purdy. I don't care if you're Joe Montana. I don't care if you're Steve Young. Rain is tough to throw in. It doesn't matter if you put on a glove. It's physics. The ball is wet. It'll slip out of your hand. It's harder to throw in. Passing statistics for every single quarterback are worse when it's wet than when it's dry. That's why you hope for dry weather games. You don't hope for wet weather games. All right, we're going to walk down Dolores. We're going to do a median walk here just because I love these palm trees. Yeah, but Theismann's completion, somebody said Theismann used to be good in the rain. I guarantee you his completion percentage, his accuracy wasn't as good in the rain. He might have been better relative to other quarterbacks running around in the mud and doing all that kind of stuff, but just the law of physics says that wet weather is harder to throw in. I don't know what's so hard about this to understand. So this next game for the 49ers is in a dome in Minnesota. They play a lot of dry weather games because they're from California, but wet weather games are going to be wet weather games, and they're going to be a little bit sloppier. All right, so now we're walking down the median of Dolores Street. I don't see many people do this, but I'll do it because this whole street, 2 miles worth, maybe even more, is lined with these stunning palm trees. I showed you the Mission. Now I'm showing you Dolores. I mean, the gimbal can't even pan up high enough to see this one palm tree. There it goes. Nice. These palms are worth, I'm guessing 10. I think a mature palm tree, I've seen the price tag on some of those, is rather exorbitant. We're going to, Mike says, what's funny? Trey Lance has smaller hands than Brock Purdy. Purdy will be fine. I just think people always have to have a take, right? People always say, well, I figured something out. I'm going to have a take. I'm going to get some clicks. And one of the takes, because Brock Purdy's name gets a lot of clicks, is I cracked the code. It was raining, so there's a scandal. Brock Purdy can't grip a football when it's raining. Every single quarterback in the history of the sport has had a tougher time gripping the football when it's been wet. That's just how physics work. All right, turn off of Dolores. I'm gonna walk up 17th here. The Vikings are indeed number 7 in turnover ratios. That goes back to my first 2 points is, if you execute, if you're the 49ers, if you tackle, if you don't look at that sunrise, pretty cool. Back behind me to the east, little solar flare action. I swear I'm not a director. Sometimes I accidentally just seem like one. If you execute, if you tackle the guys that you're supposed to tackle, if you don't let slippery yardage leak out on you, then Minnesota has lost 9 fumbles this year. That leads the NFL. They've beaten themselves. Minnesota also hasn't been forcing the type of turnovers that you'd think that super intense blitzing defense would face. And my last key is going to be more along the lines of schematics, focusing on that blitzing defense. The Vikings blitz 33.7% of the time, which leads the NFL. And on top of that, they've got Danielle Hunter, who doesn't have to blitz the rush because he's one of their 4 that they bring typically. And he leads the NFL with 8 sacks. So this is a team that could pressure you, and they will pressure you, but they will with the blitz because their defensive linemen and their pass rushers that come on the standard rush outside of Hunter aren't very good. Marcus Davenport's on IR. He's not going to play. So it's not about the personnel overwhelming you like it was with Cleveland. It's about the blitz potentially overwhelming you if you don't do your homework and diagnose where it's coming from. That's the key for the 49ers in this game. They have to diagnose where these blitzes are coming from. It's an amoeba front that Brian Flores uses. Amoeba front means you don't know which linebacker is coming, which linebacker isn't. Is Jordan Hicks going to be coming on the blitz? Is the safety, Harrison Smith, going to be coming? 49ers have to do their homework, and they have to be ready for any possibility. We've made it to our next point, just as I finish point 3, but we're going to be talking much more 49ers. This place is called Morning Dew Cafe. Not a bad, like it's kind of a standard morning spot, but I'm more excited about the spot on the other side. It's called Spro. It's like this modern coffee lab. I gotta cross. Which one are we gonna cross on? We're gonna cross on this one. Should do the old diagonal cross, but I think that we're gonna have a big train coming, a light rail vehicle, if you will. Yeah, there it comes. We'll wait for it. We'll watch the J Church pass us by here on 17th and Church. We're a block away from Dolores Park. I gotta hop on this sucker and take it all the way down to Balboa Park. Balboa Park is Roxy Food Center, which is one of the best sandwiches in the city. Okay, we could cross now because this guy's gonna wait on a red light. Oh, you guys are gonna get a look at the old light rail too. This is kind of cool. You're gonna get both of them crossing. So this place right here, legit. Good breakfast sandwiches too. And we're gonna walk further up 17th. Turn this. Okay, so now watch the meeting of the J trains. There's the old one, and here's the new one. Crossing on 17th. Making a whole lot of noise. And we continue. I love 17th Street. I'm on a bike lane right now. This is a bike lane that I'll frequently go up and down. I'll go up and then I'll turn on Sanchez and then I'll go up to the Lower Haight, the Bose Triangle, which is where I think I'm heading to now. So our 3 keys: 49ers tackle better. They gave up over 3 times as many tackles, or they gave up, no, let me word this correctly. They gave up more tackles than they had given up over the previous 3 games combined. So they gave up over 3 times their usual tackle rate. That's big for the 49ers. They've got to execute offensively, especially if you're missing Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams. I mean, you're going to be missing key offensive pieces, but we know that they still have more talent than Minnesota, right? The talent level in this game, I don't think is particularly close, even if the 49ers are missing some of their key players. And you know that Kyle Shanahan's going to scheme some stuff open. You know that Brock Purdy, just thanks to his composure, is going to have opportunities out there. He knows when to sit in the pocket. He knows when he needs to move around. He's proven that. So the opportunities are going to be there. You have to hit them. And they were there against Cleveland, against the best defense in the world. And the 49ers didn't hit enough of them. They missed them in key spots. So you've got to hit those opportunities. A simple goal, I know. Not schematically oriented, I know. But it's definitely one that I have to mention. And the third one is schematically oriented. This Vikings team is going to blitz you with Brian Flores more than any team in the NFL. Flores has already lit up the 49ers before, back when he was the Dolphins coach in 2020. They weren't ready for it. In big part because the 49ers had horrific center issues in 2020. So Jake Brendel might be the most important player of this game for the 49ers. All right, we made it to Sanchez Street. This is where I turn. This place, though, Saucy Asian. Really nice. Good, fast, casual Californian Asian food. You can take a look down at the hill. Saucy Asian's not going to open until closer to lunchtime. But, I mean, oh, they're expanding. Wow. Cool. Look, you even have a QR code for their menu if you want it. but they're not open yet. So if we go down, or up, I guess, Sanchez, because it's technically uphill here, we're gonna get to Market Street. And then from Market, we're gonna enter Bose Triangle and a great neighborhood. This is a good walk. This is a good walk to show off this kind of geographically central area of San Francisco. We're very much in the middle of everything right now. Any questions? Happy to answer them. I'm gonna be looking down at the questions here as I walk right now. Next time, show you good egg tart. All right. Did I put an egg tart in one of my videos? I forgot, because I was in Chinatown a couple weekends ago and I got an egg tart for breakfast. If you see me at Stanford tonight, by the way, I see a comment. Make sure you say hi to me. And I had that egg tart at breakfast, and it was really good. I forgot if I put it in a video. I do remember videoing the egg tart. Look at this. Typical San Francisco Bay window. I do remember videoing the egg tart, so got to make sure that I treat that properly and get it in a video if I didn't. We're 400 subscribers away from 50,000, says Mike. It's good information. Aaron Banks is indeed feeling better. He's back out of practice. Banks is back out there. Dre Greenlaw is back out there. 49ers looking good with those two players. The questionable ones are Debo, Christian McCaffrey, and Trent Williams. And if I had to guess, I don't think Trent Williams is going to play. I think they're going to have to go Jalen Moore and Colton McKivitz against Daniil Hunter and a really aggressive Minnesota blitz rate. This is going to be a hell of a test for two relatively unproven tackles. Now, Colton's improved a lot since facing TJ Watt, but Daniil Hunter's leading the league in sacks. So, and Daniil lines up 70 to 80% of the time against right tackle. So this is going to be a test for Colton. But if Jalen Moore starts instead of Trent Williams, you might see Daniil up his 20 to 30% rate over left tackle to like 50. You might see him split time so he could test out Jalen Moore. I would not be surprised if that were the case. Only 2 plays last week that Kittle was the first read, Anthony says. Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. It was a Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey game, and they both got hurt. I mean, it doesn't surprise me for multiple reasons. The other one is that this was a world-beating Cleveland defense. You got to protect your quarterback. You have to run the ball, where Kittle is obviously going to be a featured blocking weapon, and you have to protect the QB. And even if Kittle's not blocking, he could protect the QB by being a decoy on some of those shorter passes. Suck some of that defense in toward him. There's been nothing wrong with how they're using George Kittle this year. The offense is producing. He scored 3 touchdowns. He caught 3 touchdowns less than 2 weeks ago. To me, those are manufactured complaints, and I don't like manufactured complaints because they're phony. They're extremely phony. It's time that people also, I'm a big credit guy. People who deserve credit, teams who deserve credit, get credit from me. Guess who deserves credit? The Cleveland Browns defense. All right, we're working our way up Sanchez. I don't think that Christian McCaffrey needs protecting from himself. I think that he's a professional. Beautiful trees on Sanchez. One of my favorite streets in San Francisco. And we're coming up on Market. I'm glad they're finally doing something, it looks like, about this building. It had been abandoned there for a while right on the corner. I mean, talk about prime real estate here. Market and Sanchez, old building, finally fenced up. Maybe that means they're finally going to be doing something about it, because you're absolutely going to want something cool on this corner. Look at that, good timing, green light. You can look all the way down Market here. And if you look far enough and close enough, you'll see the ferry building. could take the historic trolley down Market all the way to the ferry building and then around to the water. So now we're north of Market. We moved from south of Market to north of Market. Here's a little Chase Bank. There's a nice little like German beer garden right in front of me called Willkommen, like welcome in German. They don't have very creative language over in Germany. Just like English. Willkommen, welcome. And yes, I get it. I get that German's probably older than English. Maybe not, I don't know. Not really sure on my language history there. But it's always fun to make fun of Germany. You know, we're neighbors. Since I'm Czech, we're neighbors with Germany. So and by the way, really good beer over at the German place. All right, we're gonna continue. We're gonna go walk by the fire department here. They got a nice little fire station. We're gonna go by the dog park. And then I'm gonna be where I'm gonna be for my breakfast. So I'll probably head off. Man, that guy is jamming out on his bike. I'm concerned, you know, somebody asked me if I'm concerned about having Moody on a Super Bowl roster. I'm concerned about any kicker on a Super Bowl roster. I still remember Robbie Gould missing a 41-yarder against the Raiders last year. I still remember Robbie Gould's field goal percentage declining last year as he was on the wrong side of 40. To act like Robbie Gould was going to be doing this forever is just disingenuous. Everything is risk. Every player that you sign, spend capital on, spend salary cap space on, they've got to perform. And it's not a given that they will. But you take your chances based on the data that you have. And they believe that Jake Moody is going to fight through adversity and be a good kicker for them. And, it's time to just give him a chance and see what happens instead of judging everything off of one game. All right, more Sanchez Street. I really like this yellow house. Look at that. And the firefighters. Quiet Saturday morning right now for them here. And we've moved from the Mission to the Bose Triangle, which is a little hidden pocket of sorts in San Francisco. The Bose Triangle's cool. I'm a big DeBose Triangle guy. I should have turned on Henry Street, but I would have had to walk uphill, so we'll just walk up Sanchez. I used to live actually on 14th, which is this street right here, long time ago, before I covered the Niners in 2016. Shout out to 14th Street. We used to live right up here. I mean, it's a beautiful street. You could see all the way up to Buena Vista Park. It's a pretty steep hill, especially if you go up to the next block. Be cool if the fire truck honked at us. They didn't. I'm not a little kid anymore. So we're gonna come up on the dog park here in about a block. Time to answer some more questions. So we walk up Sanchez Street. I mean, I don't think I could be wrong about Moody. I'm just saying that we have to wait and see. He could bomb the next 4 games, and then the 49ers have to make a change, right? But I think just trying to make a judgment and trying to be the first to make a judgment after one game when we knew that he was going to miss because he's a rookie seems a little bit foolish to me, right? It just seems premature. But I get it. Everybody wants to be hysterical. Everybody wants to have a take. Just not how the 49ers operate. Not how any good business should operate. How many targets does Juszczyk get? I have no idea. He usually gets about 1 a game. 1 or 2 a game unless it's a crazy game plan. I remember when they were in Minnesota in 2018, there was a bomb that they threw to Kyle Juszczyk. I forgot if he caught it or dropped. I think he caught the bomb against Minnesota in 2018. Maybe he's a little bit bigger part of the game plan. They lost that game. That was Kirk Cousins' debut for the Vikings. Season opener 2018. Dante Pettis scored a touchdown in that game. The Vikings defense is mediocre everywhere. Somebody asked how they're out over the middle. I don't like their corners. I like their safeties actually more than their corners. I do like Jordan Hicks, their linebacker, and I do like this place for breakfast. This is the Bose Park Cafe. This is the dog park, by the way. We just made it to the dog park. I'll get you oriented here. We made it to Sanchez and DeBose. You get good breakfast sandwiches here. Then you could cross over here. Hey, I could do something crazy. You guys might lose reception because I think I see the train coming. This could be kind of cool. I don't know if I could pause the live, but if the train's not crowded, I could go one stop under this hill, going this other direction, and I could take this to Coal Valley. And what is it? 8:45? Yeah, I still got time. I think I could show you a new little part of San Francisco. If that's the N train coming up behind me, I might try it. Now, fair warning, we're probably going to lose reception in the tunnel. It's going to take like 2 minutes to get through. So you're just going to have to wait. The Bose Dog Park. Cool spot. Let's walk on the grass. It might have been the J train though, and the J train turns. Whatever, I'll go up here to the stop and we'll see what the options are. I mean, Kyle Juszczyk, people are saying he's not getting the ball. You have to remember how many eligibles the 49ers have. This is a team that's loaded. Now, in a game where Debo and Christian might be missing, maybe you game plan a little bit more to involve Kyle Juszczyk and players like that. But you don't enter a game with McCaffrey and Debo Samuel healthy and say, oh, Kyle Juszczyk's going to get 7 touches in this game. It doesn't work that way. It's not a really smart use of resources. It's tough when you have to adapt on the fly. It absolutely is. So the train, I believe, is coming, guys. So I'm going to try this out. And you're just going to have to wait with me. I'm probably going to mute the microphone while we're on the train because it's going to be loud. You're just going to wait with me as we go through this tunnel, okay? So just give it some time. This is the N train. I'm sure many of you have grown up riding the N train to Ocean Beach. Muting the mic. almost there.
Carl and Cole.
Look at that, we made it. Did you guys, I don't think we lost reception while I was in that sucker. So made it from, oh good, I got a refund on my fare. You see, I didn't know if I'd be able to scan my phone when I was in there while I was on the live, but it totally worked, so it was cool. So we went from the Bose Triangle, which was on that side of the tunnel. We went under the hill, and now, I wasn't a free rider, I paid. Everybody saw it. There's video evidence of me paying. And we get off here in Cole Valley. We're now very near Kezar Stadium. Good little Arabic restaurant here. I love this little coffee house on the corner. That may be where I go to breakfast. And this J train is going back downtown. So this, N train, sorry, this is the N Judah. This will connect Kezar and the Giants ballpark, Oracle Park. Basically door to door from both stadiums. So this wooden coffee house, they got little mini breakfast burritos, really solid. And Cole Valley Tavern. I believe the Cole Valley Tavern used to be called the Kezar Tavern, not to be mistaken with Kezar Pub. Kezar Pub, by the way, that might be a place we have to stop by. I should have taken the train one more stop. But I love Cole Valley. Especially this place up here. It's called Zazi. See Sutro Tower too. So far I have $2.44 of donations. We're 6 cents short of my train ride. Look at the crowd for Zazi. It's a little French place for brunch. These people are all waiting to get in. Have they even opened yet? Yeah, I'm not waiting in that line. I don't wait in lines. Not my thing. We have any more 49ers questions? We haven't talked about the Niners in a little while here. I'd be happy to. I know that was kind of exciting. I know we did our little train ride there, but that's University of San Francisco. They have scaffolding on the church right now on St. Ignatius. Greenlaw is practicing, yes. Greenlaw is practicing. Aaron Banks is practicing. I'm going down to practice in a little bit. See, it's 8:54 right now. You guys like the watch? Margot got me this watch right before we got married. Literally 7 minutes before we got married. We did that little, not a first look. I don't believe in those. She was like on the other side of the wall. She handed me the watch. It was pretty nice. So I could tell that I still have time before I have to be down there at 12 today. So I'm walking around town. I'm gonna go get breakfast, gonna go get coffee, and then we're gonna figure it out. I think I'm gonna drive today. I take the train down to Santa Clara some days. By train, I mean I usually take BART. But today I think I'm gonna drive because I'm going to the Stanford game after. Oh, the breakfast burrito place. Now this is scary. I thought that this guy right here was gonna kill me. It's like a wild boar with a butcher knife rotating in the door. This place is sweet, though. I think this may be where I end up eating. If I wasn't afraid of him. Jeez. Let's proceed forward, carry on. This is where the old Cafe Reverie used to be, and they just shut down, unfortunately. But, oh, this is good. Somebody else, a small beer manufacturer wants to take over. So at least we'll have a business in this spot. My wife just texted me, good morning from Casa de Lombardi, and she sent a picture. I can't even see what it is. I think she made some food or something. Unfortunately, that's like 2,000 miles away, so I'm gonna have to eat somewhere here. There's the ice cream bar. I heard that place is cool. This place, the ice cream bar. It's like a old 50s style ice cream bar. You can see it right behind me. Hey, by the way, I'm getting better with this gimbal. Let's just talk about that for a second. If the 49ers defense and their tackling can improve this week the same way that I've improved with the gimbal, they're going to win by 30 points. This is turning into an epic walk, by the way. I don't even feel like stopping for food because there's so much to show you. Screw it. Let's go to Kezar. Let's go to Kezar. Screw it. We're going to Kezar. It's a 49ers walk. This is going to be a 49ers theme. We took the train. We took the end train. We have to end up at Kezar. I was thinking I'm going to go to the Panhandle, and then I'm going to go to Golden Gate Park. Well, Kezar's in Golden Gate Park, so we're going to go to Golden Gate Park, but we're going to go to the former home of the San Francisco 49ers on this beautiful Saturday morning. By the way, 49ers Vikings. Those of you just joining, I talked about the tackling. I talked about hitting on missed opportunities. This blitz rate, though, I think we could talk a little bit more about that. Brian Flores lit the 49ers up with blitzes when he was the Miami Dolphins head coach in 2020. That was the year the 49ers just had a ton of issues at the center position. They ended up falling down to their fourth string center by the end of that season, Hronis Grasu. The Dolphins game was in week 5, so it wasn't as dire yet, but it was bad. Don't get me wrong, it was bad. And the amoeba front that Brian Flores was throwing at the 49ers, I mean, he was blitzing from everywhere. They couldn't tell where it was coming from, but especially the A-gap. The double A-gap blitzes that the Dolphins ran in that game completely overwhelmed the 49ers front that was operating with that backup center. So expect Brian Flores to test that again. I know Jake Brendel's done a good job for the 49ers, but expect him to see where the weakness points are. Expect him to apply pressure at areas that pressure has worked at before. The reason I went into the sidewalk is because there's a bunch of scaffolding right here. I didn't want to crowd other people walking on the sidewalk. But yeah, you look at this. You look at this Brian Flores defense and the blitz rate. The week after the New York Giants lit the 49ers up with, 85% blitzes, which is the highest in next-gen stats history. The Vikings posted the second highest blitz rate of all time. So this is a similar challenge, but they're going to be coming from different spots. And Wink Martindale, the blitzing was crazy in that game, but I think that Brian Flores offers less predictable blitzing than Wink Martindale, the Giants' defensive coordinator. This is going to be a major test for Brock Purdy. It's going to be a major test for Jalen Moore if he plays instead of Trent Williams, just the recognition, right, who to pick up. Major test for all the offensive linemen, but especially for Jake Brendel, the center, because it's the center that is out there diagnosing the protections. He's setting all the protections for the front. So this is going to be, and it's on the road too. It's going to be loud. You're going to have to non-verbally communicate. Minnesota is a famously loud stadium. It ain't going to be easy for the 49ers, that's for sure. Am I going to make this light? 3, 2. Ooh, no, I don't think I will. I didn't want to run. I want to show you, and because I didn't run, I can show you Lava Java. Now we're by Kezar Stadium. This is where the 49ers used to play. We can take a peek into Kezar Pub, actually. It's a good thing I didn't run. This is a good little breakfast sandwich spot right by Kezar. And Kezar Pub is where people used to pregame. I'll take you to the stadium here in just a second. Who's drinking at the pub now? Well, it's 9 o'clock. College football's about to start, right? I'm sure, I don't know which college team calls Kezar Pub their own, but whose fans call it their own, but somebody will be in there drinking. I mean, Kezar Pub is one of those soccer bars, and those guys start drinking at 6 a.m. on the West Coast. We shall see who's drinking in Kezar Pub. The mystery will be solved very soon. North Beach Pizza, although we're not in North Beach, trust me. We're in Coal Valley, Upper Haight. We're walking down Stanyon. We're gonna walk right by Kezar Pub. I don't think San Francisco's very dead this morning. It's just Saturday morning. We saw a lot of people out on the street. Somebody's saying San Francisco's dead. I would have to disagree right now. Especially on a nice weekend day, once this turns in the afternoon. It's gonna be teeming with people. People come in from outside the city. All right, here's Kezar Pub. Yeah, see, there's a few people in here. It's a cool spot.
Time is fair. Maybe someday.
Super loud. I should show you guys a little bit more though. I just don't like that they have the audio of the commercials blaring so loud. I don't want to hear like a Lowe's commercial. I'm waiting for these games to restart. Do they have their little outdoor seating right here?
And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anyone's going to take what you have to say seriously.
They might have been watching my channel because they literally just turned down the volume. That's great. Look, they got like that little extra bench seating. Kezar Pub's got the setup. So anyway, this is where Niners fans used to pregame for 49ers games at Kezar Stadium. You'll see how close the walk is. You go from here just across the street. I mean, literally Kezar Pavilion. Kezar Pavilion is literally across the street right there. That Kezar Pavilion's an small indoor kind of gym / arena. Now, the locker rooms for Kezar Stadium were in Kezar Pavilion. So the tunnel from the old stadium is still there. It goes to Kezar Pavilion. And then, of course, you have the pub, which has all the flags because it is a soccer pub. Now you can see people walking in here. Here we go. You can see some of the old players in the old stadium. This is what it used to look like. Right across the street. Used to be a 55,000 seat stadium. And this is one of the best places to watch the Niners. As you can tell from all the memorabilia. Penn State and Ohio State are about to kick off, and we'll do one more look at Kezar. What was really cool is that fans were able to watch the game from the rooftops. I don't think that they're on the roof. There's a few fans on the rooftop there, you could tell. They're able to watch from these rooftops as the Niners played on the field below, right in the middle of the city. And they pre-gamed here. So pre-game here, walk out, and head out to these rooftops right there. See those rooftops? You can watch the game from those. We're gonna walk actually right by them right now as we head to the stadium. I've literally walked through 5 neighborhoods right now. Everybody's, oh, we're the seedy parts of San Francisco. I've literally walked through 5 neighborhoods and you haven't seen anything seedy. San Francisco's like a real life Disneyland. It has 47 neighborhoods and 49 square miles. In one live, I can walk through multiple neighborhoods. It's kind of crazy that way. And it's not really not what the media makes it out to be for the vast majority of the city. So sometimes you just have to like see stuff with your own eyes and not believe everything that is said on the internet. That's why I'm out here reporting for you. I report on football, I report on food, I report on culture, because you can't report on football without reporting on food and culture. It's all intertwined. It's an incomplete picture if you don't consider it all. All right, so now we're walking back by Lava Java. We're gonna go down Frederick into Kezar Stadium where we can finish this show. Got half a block left. Any 49ers questions? The Stanford of San Francisco, USF. Nice. Well, the 1951 Dons. I mean, it's a famous football team. And that was the end of the program, very sadly, for University of San Francisco, but a hell of a story. Look up the 1951 USF Dons. Bob St. Clair played for that team, and we're going to see a plaque dedicated to former 49er Bob St. Clair here in just a little bit. So Kezar, these are some of the houses, if you look at the old famous paintings, that had the rooftops, and they still have the rooftops, where people would watch 49ers games from some of these houses up here. And I think that you saw some of the fans in that one little picture that I showed you from the bar. Now this, straight ahead of me, that's the old San Francisco Polytechnic High School, San Francisco Poly. That's their old gym. The high school is no longer in use, but George Seifert went there. Bob St. Clair went there. And it was right across the street from the home of the San Francisco 49ers. Which will appear in our site in just a few seconds. The old pillars of when Kezar was a 55,000 seat stadium are still here. It's neat, trust me. It's coming up here. I'm gonna do a grand reveal. That's why I flipped the camera back on me. I know I did a video from Kezar before the 49ers played the Cowboys last year. That was a fun one. Grand reveal. Just imagine coming from Kezar Pub back in the day. You walk the block that I just did, walked here through the main gate, one of the main gates. I think this was the main gate. You'd be inside at this point, going through all these pillars, and the stadium would appear. The first home of the San Francisco 49ers. And there you could see the San Francisco Polytechnic gym overlooking Kezar. Dirty Harry, one of the climactic scenes, was filmed here. That was the main gate. There's the tunnel. We'll go down to the tunnel in a second. That tunnel will connect you to the locker rooms, which are at Kezar Pavilion. And Kezar Pavilion, of course, is right by Kezar Pub, right across the street from Kezar Pub, where I just walked from. Now we move this way, and it's called Bob St. Clair Field, because Bob St. Clair played all of his career's football games on this field. Bob St. Clair played for San Francisco Polytechnic High School. Their home games were on this field. Bob St. Clair played for the University of San Francisco. All of their games were on this field, including for the 1951 Dons, USF Dons team, that famous team, and for the San Francisco 49ers from 1953 to 1964. All of their games were on this field. So, and then he was the mayor of Daly City on top of that. So a very accomplished life for Bob St. Clair. And the field here at Kezar Stadium is now named after him. George Seifert went to high school right across the street here, former 49ers coach, and then he sold peanuts. He's a vendor at Kezar Stadium. We're gonna walk around here. So the weather is not gonna be as nice in Minneapolis, but I'll still give you a nice tour. I get on an early morning flight on Monday. 6 a.m. I think, maybe 6:30. Delta. Some of you might see me on the flight if you're taking the same flight. And here it is. I mean, yeah, this was the site. It was the site of 49ers Cowboys in the playoffs. It was the site of heartbreak for the 49ers, that's for sure. Kezar Stadium. They still play high school football games here in San Francisco. And they have these old wooden benches, which I believe are the original wooden benches of Kezar Stadium. They're rotting, they're still here. Now, what they also have are seats from Candlestick Park. These are Candlestick seats. And they're wet, so I'm not gonna sit on them. That morning dew is still on the seats. But Candlestick seats at Kezar. So Candlestick no longer exists, but part of it lives on in this stadium. Why don't we go check out the tunnel? It'd be cool if the 49ers did a practice here like once a year, something like that. Stanford used to run their spring game out here for a couple years back when actually Jim Harbaugh was the coach. He said, let's go have our spring game at Kezar. Harbaugh, before he was the 49ers coach, when he was Stanford's coach, had the spring game. Like Andrew Luck played on this field in the Stanford spring game. It was cool, and they filled it up too. It was a good crowd. I do think there's a place with a good burger in Minneapolis. We'll see. I'm gonna have to do my research. I've been so buried in work so far this week, that I haven't quite been in on that. I think the 49ers are still 6.5-point favorites. I think that line probably is frozen because people are unsure about some of the injuries. All right, we made it onto the track. So this is a historic spot because this used to all be stands around me, right, instead of the grass before they downsized this stadium after the 1989 earthquake. And you'd walk out of the locker room through this tunnel into Kezar Stadium. So this will take you all the way back to Kezar Pavilion and the old locker rooms. Today, it looks very different than it used to look, but memories of the past are still here. Why don't we walk out of the Kezar Stadium tunnel together? Faded glory, that's what I like to call it. John Brody, all those guys, they used to make this walk. They used to see the city and the stadium around them. I don't think there was a track here at that point either, but now there is. Cool that the field goal posts are still there. The wrong way run was here. That was against the Vikings, right? Yeah, I believe that was against the Vikings. I think the 49ers and the Vikings, the wrong way run. Okay, yeah, maybe I do my prediction here. I'll have to record that in a second. That was I believe it was Jim Marshall in the wrong way run. I think he played for the Vikings. It was the Vikings, yeah. So Jim Marshall picked up a fumble and ran the wrong way. And he ran into this end zone. So it was a safety, it wasn't a touchdown. So yeah, that was, I mean, sometimes I get lucky by accident, right? Sometimes I don't mean to come to the right place at the right time. I just happened to be walking around San Francisco doing a live, got on the train. I mean, you guys saw me on Muni today. That was kind of, that was fun, right? Ended up at Kezar Stadium by accident. I swear, it was serendipitous, but Kezar Stadium is the site of the most famous 49ers Vikings game of all time. It was in the 1950s, maybe the 1960s. It was back when Kezar was still the spot, still held 55,000 people. There was a fumble on the play. Jim Marshall, the Vikings, picked up the football and ran the wrong way. He didn't know which way was which. He was disoriented. He ran into this end zone instead of the one he was supposed to run into, which was the opposite end zone. It was a safety. Lon Simmons was on the call and he went crazy. I don't know who won the game, but it was a famous moment in 49ers Vikings history. I would recreate the wrong way run, except I might actually get in trouble this time because it says, keep off the grass. The upset victory of the Vikings meant the 1970 NFC Championship game would be the final 49ers game at Kezar Stadium. So the wrong way run was a playoff game, huh? No, okay, no, okay, good. Mike texted me something. That was, yeah, the wrong way run was in 64. 1970 was the final NFC Championship game here against the Cowboys. The final game here was a loss to the Cowboys. And then they lost to the Cowboys at Candlestick to open up Candlestick in the playoffs. Brutal history. That's what made 1981 mean so much. So there's always failure before the big success. 49ers lost last week. There's some failure before the big success. We've gone over an hour. I've got to get down to Santa Clara. I wish the stadium was still right here. That'd be cool. Maybe a little solar flare to end the shot. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.